by film.
5,
Stand by music.
4,
Stand by announce.
3, 2, 1.
And fade up.
Sneaky little Robinsons.
Spider-Man, hero or menace?
Dear Indugo.
Dobby the house elf.
Who holds sway over the 5 points?
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
This is my family.
There's a hole in this cake.
You concur?
I'm a bloody island. I'm bloody Ibiza.
How about new, you crazy Dutch bastard?
Well, welcome everyone to a. Oh, I said and brand new. I gotta start over. Welcome everyone to a brand new episode of 20 Years 4 Beers. We are a podcast dedicated to rewatching movies from 2 decades ago while simultaneously enjoying a minimum of 4 modern beers. My name is Steve, and this is my big brother,
Tim.
And we are coming to you from Minneapolis, Minnesota. It has been a while since we have had an audience, and although he was once dead to us, he is now elevated to living again. That's good. We are pleased to welcome back into the 20/4 studio our number one fan, JT. Welcome, good sir. Thanks for coming back.
Good to see you.
On this episode, we journey into a galaxy far, far away and discuss Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Attack of the Clones is the continued story in the Skywalker prequels and follows a teenaged-ish, I guess, Anakin Skywalker and his teacher, Obi-Wan Kenobi, 10 years after they initially meet in Episode 1. Don't watch it. The two set out on separate quests. Anakin must protect Padme, or Senator Padme, I suppose, Senator Amidala, from harm, and Obi-Wan investigates the death of a galactic senator. Anakin's assignment sets him on a path of forbidden romance and possible betrayal of his master, and Obi-Wan finds a dark secret behind the assassination of the senator involving a clone army set on destruction. Obviously, the quests come together, and everyone involved must decide on the next steps to protect the galaxy.
I have said it many times. You are the most gifted Jedi I have ever met.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
I see you becoming the greatest of all Jedi, Anakin. Even more powerful than Master Yoda.
I am concerned for my Padawan. He is not ready to be given this assignment on his own yet.
The Council is confident in its decision, Obi-Wan.
The boy has exceptional skills.
But he still has much to learn, Master. His abilities have made him, well, arrogant.
Yes. A flaw more and more common among Jedi. Too sure of themselves they are. Even the older, more experienced ones.
Remember, Obi-Wan, if the prophecy is true, your apprentice is the only one who can bring the Force back into balance.
The film is directed by George Lucas, written in the loosest possible terms by Lucas and Jonathan Hales of the Scorpion King fame, by the way, so that says a lot.
I had no idea.
Stars Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker, Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, Natalie Portman as Senator Amidala, Christopher Lee, Frank Oz, and Samuel L. Jackson, to name a few. As a general rule, my memory of this, I am supremely disappointed with all of the prequels.
They suck.
Yeah, as a general rule. And nothing can be as disappointing as Episode 1. But yeah, the screenplay of this certainly gives it its best college try at being worse than Episode 1, in my opinion, but we'll get back to that later. I will say I think I hated it the first time, except for the last hour. I feel like I'll be curious to see if the last hour still is what I have in my head. It's been probably 5 years since I've seen it. I remember seeing it in the theater, but I don't even want to wax poetic about it because I got plenty of time later about that. So
I have no idea how long ago, but it was terrible. So
yeah, Matt and I, my son and I, we watched all the movies because he's of the age. So that was probably when he was 10 or whatever. So in the last few years I have. Yeah, that's all I got. I don't really want to do
We'll have plenty of time to talk.
Yeah, we'll be fine. So our first segment, as usual, is Drinking Buddies.
Come on, not my fucking beer.
Where we present the 4 beers we will be drinking while rewatching our subject film. We will have a few regular beers and also will feature a new strange brew. So, Tim, who are our buddies for this episode?
We have from Minneapolis, 56 Brewing, their multitasker Tangerine Julius Smoothie Sour. I'm very intrigued to enjoy this. I'm going to crack it right now. Ooh, that sprayed a little bit. You can feel free to put that at the
Where
back.
was that?
Yep.
Okay,
There
3
you go.
minute,
Yep.
40 second
We'll come
mark.
back to that.
Yep.
Then one of our first theme beers. I was so happy about this. Steel Toe Brewing out of St. Louis Park. You know, an attack, some would say you have to fight, defend yourself. So we have Sticker Fight, double IPA. It's also episode 2.
He's doing this on purpose.
So we had to, definitely had to be like a double IPA. So double theme beer. It's a stretch. But then,
Yeah.
I think I squealed when I saw this tonight. I was so excited. Out of Shakopee, Minnesota, Badger Hill Brewing, their Death Star Disco Ball triple IPA. That's going to be incredible. And then
Hopefully.
our esteemed guest totally redeemed himself from missing before.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this. And totally redeem yourself
by bringing one I wanted to try for quite some time. So thank you. Out of Minneapolis, Prize Brewing, their 2021 Lost Moon.
That's no moon. It's a space station.
Russian Imperial Stout, which it's good to have a dark beer considering the movie, Anakin's being tempted by the dark side. So
something dark side.
It's been a lot of good theme options that we have. And then we have a strange brew at the end that we'll go through.
Love it. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you for bringing the beer, JT.
Yes, thank you.
Our next segment, then, is the social network.
If you guys were the inventors of Facebook, you'd have invented Facebook.
Where we take a look back at the critical and fan reception from 20 years ago. Tim is going to take point on our reviews because I just hate research. I can't stand it.
But you wrote that good intro.
Yeah, I wrote it in 10 seconds. I didn't have to go and do work. That's come on. No.
That's true.
So Tim, please take it away on social network.
IMDb rating is 6.6 out of 10. So kind of high, but a little bit low.
6.6?
Yeah, out of 10. So
Star Wars nerds.
You guys will watch anything, you dumb monkeys.
I know, exactly. Jack Matthews of the New York Daily News said, Lucas's obsession with digital technology has obliterated the saga's last remnants of human purpose and turned his once mesmerizing space opera into a pure, dehumanized cartoon.
Damn!
Yikes.
Who is that? Jack Matthews?
Jack Matthews of the New York Daily News.
I'm going to frame that review.
Right? It was just like
Jack Matthews.
A verbal kick to the junk.
The nads.
Richard Corliss of Time Magazine said, at the end, when the now computerized Yoda finally reveals his martial artistry, the film ascends to kinetic life, so teeming that even cranky adults may rediscover the quivering kid inside. It's a positive review. I had to find one.
That's fine.
They
but
did
it used
exist.
The word quivering.
I know.
Okay.
Rediscover. Roger Ebert, Big Man Raj, 2 out of 4 stars. Yeah. The main characters seem so strangely stiff and formal in their speech that an unwary viewer might be excused for thinking they were the clones soon to be exposed. The film is ultimately a technological exercise that lacks juice and delight. Oh, also, sorry, I was looking away from my notes.
Yep.
Academy Awards that year, 1 nomination for Best Visual Effects, which pretty generous in my view.
Yes, yeah, especially because they don't hold up.
No.
But anyway, we'll find out, right? I don't really have anything else. Do you?
I'm excited to watch
this. Yeah, let's do it. You're excited.
I'm going to hate watch this so much. I can't wait.
All right, so we are going to take a pause and rewatch Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. There's likely no need to watch along with us, but if you are bored, go right ahead. Who am I to tell you what to do?
Yep.
Directed by George Lucas, this is Attack of the Clones.
I have tracked the bounty hunter Jango Fett to the droid foundries in Geonosis. The Trade Federation is to take delivery of a droid army here, and it is clear that Viceroy Gunray is behind the assassination attempts on Senator Amidala. The Commerce Guilds and the Corporate Alliance have both pledged their armies to Count Dooku and are forming a... Wait. Wait.
More happening on Geonosis, I feel, than has been revealed.
I agree. Anakin, we will deal with Count Dooku. The most important thing for you is to stay where you are. Protect the Senator at all costs. That is your first priority.
Understood, Master.
They'll never get there in time to save him. They have to come halfway across the galaxy. Look. Geonosis is less than a parsec away.
If he's still alive.
Annie, are you just gonna sit here and let him die? He's your friend, your mentor.
He's like my father. But you heard Master Windu. He gave me strict orders to stay here.
He gave you strict orders to protect me. And I'm going to help Obi-Wan. If you plan to protect me, you'll just have to come along.
Sometimes it's a really cathartic thing where you feel like, yeah, exactly. Like after 2 years of a freaking pandemic and the shit of the world, you just got to bitch about George Lucas being an idiot.
Oh man, we'll get there. We will get there. Okay. Well, welcome back to 20 Years, 4 Beers, where we have just finished rewatching Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. As usual, we jump right into our reaction segment that we call High Fidelity.
Top 5 side ones, track ones.
Where we discuss our top takeaways of any kind from rewatching the film. I mean, do you have...
Is there a better example of a movie that peaks right away? So the John Williams incredible like music fanfare, just is like, yes, freaking Star Wars, and then it's a like diminishing return every freaking moment of this movie. I could not wait for it to be done.
Yeah,
I was hoping that maybe it wasn't as bad as I remember being, but no, it was like every moment was like, oh my God, like an hour left. Seriously, kill me freaking now. I'm glad we have beer when we watch this because it's good to have actually. I'm glad in hindsight. Thankfully, you didn't come, JT, to the About a Boy. It was fine, but it was so much. Yeah, the three of us were having a good time, like enjoying it and having a good time. Because if it wasn't for JT, dear God, this would have been.
We might have just fast forwarded it.
Yeah,
there's a few times I was like, "Can we fast forward through this?" We've seen it. We're gonna crap on it, so that's fine.
No, I forgot how absolutely every moment, and sorry, it's like a 98% shitstorm. In this movie. It's just awful.
So I'm going to come at this from a high fidelity standpoint of saying I have a list of good and I have a list of bad.
Oh,
right. And just sort of like, let's give it credit where credit's due, because not every movie fails across the board.
Epically.
Right.
Sure.
So I'm going to start with the good and then
it's going to go really quick.
It's going to go really quickly downhill. So my first takeaway is the obvious, which is the John Williams score is terrific.
Yep.
Like it's just is, because it always is.
Yeah.
Again, to your credit, JT, there's the moment about 3/4 of the way through, I guess. I mean, 10 minutes in feels like 3/4 of the way through. But
time is relative in this thing.
You're like, wait, is that the first time we hear the Empire theme, you know, when Anakin's sort of thinking about going to the dark side? And you're like, actually, I think it is, you know, and that's not a testament to Lucas, because there's no testament to Lucas in this movie, but that is a testament to Williams and his understanding. If anyone in this movie understood the importance of continuity across the board, it's John Williams.
Yep.
And the score is great.
Yep.
It is. It just is. And so it's an easy takeaway, but I'm going to start there.
Yeah.
My number one is John Williams. Terrific as usual. It's not even his best of the 3 prequel scores, because we do get Duel of the Fates in the first one, and that immediately makes it better.
Epic.
But it's good. It's really good. So that's my first takeaway. I'm starting with the good.
Yeah.
continue on.
Lean into that. With
there you
wings.
go.
I've actually always loved the scene at the beginning, or close to the beginning, where Obi-Wan, where the assassination attempt of Padme while she's sleeping.
Yeah.
Just no holds barred, jumps through a freaking window. Like Anakin comes in, like slaughters a little, like tiny little poison things.
Yeah, the worms or whatever.
And Obi-Wan just jumps through a window with like 1,000 feet off the ground. I'm gonna get this little droid thing, and I loved it when I saw it in the theater, and I love this where it was indication of, you know, we had been used to growing up, you know, Alec Guinness's character of just the stoic kind of, you know, Jedi, and in the first episode he was being trained by Qui-Gon and was kind of just bah. But this was the first example of like the dude just jumps through a freaking window, breaks it out, and starts trying to stop the assassination. And I like that. That's a nice, again, what holds up. It's good. But it's too bad it leads to a truly just stupid speeder chase scene where why do they have to have like a pathetic little dry banter between Anakin and Obi-Wan? Is like, we're trying to like stop a assassination and like, ha ha ha, hardy, hardy, hard.
Right.
Like, shut up, do your damn job, and try and stop this from happening.
Or if you're going to have dry banter, make it good.
Yeah, it's so bad.
It's so bad. I mean,
So bad.
are... Marvel does a really good job of dry banter during action scenes,
Yes.
but it works.
Yes.
So,
and this is not good.
No.
As well as just need to acknowledge the whole sequence with the city and the flying traffic and whatever was done much better in the Fifth Element.
Fifth Element. Thank you.
You watch it and you go, this was the Fifth Element.
Yep. Done.
Like Lucas ripped off that movie, and it just is so much better in that than this is just. Anyway, so a nice moment, and then just ruined by Lucas's awfulness.
You know, jumping to your Obi-Wan thing though, like the first one, I think they didn't know what to do with Obi-Wan, right?
Yeah, he's a midpoint,
right?
Of,
yeah, I have no problem with Obi-Wan in any movie that he's in, even the first one. Like, there's almost all of the original characters from the original trilogy that have popped up over the years, including here in Obi-Wan. Like, they're good. Like,
yeah,
that was obviously initially hashed out enough to where they're fleshed out and they're good. Ewan McGregor does a good job as Obi-Wan. Like, he does a good job with what he's given.
Yes.
Like,
but okay, we'll come back to that.
Yeah, I have points on the acting too, but I think that's more on the screenplay more than anything.
Yeah.
But Obi-Wan as a character is never bad. Like, it's just like, okay, it's fine. No, I agree though. It's just like, at least Obi-Wan is willing to do and what he believes in.
Yeah.
Whereas Anakin is just a bitch the entire time in these prequels. He sucks as a kid, as a teenager. Like, what are you talking about? What, like, Obi-Wan at least is willing to dive through a window 10,000 feet above the surface. Apparently a never-ending fall happens.
Yeah.
And all Anakin does is sit there and whine and complain the entire time. In the first one, he's at least kind of a funny kid.
Yeah.
But this one, you're just like, okay, fine. I don't know.
I think that to that point of what maybe is a positive thing, but to that end, like, and it's a reflection of the terrible writing, but I actually think Hayden Christensen gets a bad rap for this.
Could not agree more.
Because
there's not,
the petulant, arrogant teenager, you know, angsty AF type of vibe that George was going for with the writing of this kid would be susceptible to the manipulations of the, you know, the dark side and all these things. He plays those scenes well. The creepy predator, like stocky type of like weird, like he's just figuring out.
Yeah. Let's also,
his role in the world.
That he's been hanging around with a bunch of dudes the entire time, so he does finally get to be around her. So it's a little weird.
Yeah, he doesn't handle the whole like hey lady vibe going well. But he actually gets a bad rap in this, unfortunately, because you watch this and go like Natalie Portman, Ewan McGregor, Samuel Jackson, across the board, everyone is terrible in this. And they're given dialogue that's obviously awful, and that, the storytelling is just ridiculous. But I watching again, I have not a new appreciation, but I think he gets a bad rap. He can really deliver on the dark side of this, which is maybe a good casting. The love scenes are terrible, but that's just maybe all over the board. But compared to great actors who have a huge legacy around them, he is actually better in some of the sequences than they are.
You've worked in the restaurant industry. I have.
Yes.
I assume JT has at some point in his life, but if I were to have a restaurant, and if I were to go to a restaurant, right, and the waiter is going to serve me something, and the waiter's like, "Here, we have this turd burger for you," right? The chef has made and created this turd burger.
Yes.
And so I am the consumer, and I'm supposed to listen to this, like, waiter sell me this turd burger.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, look at this. This is a great turd burger. Nobody can make that turd burger sound great.
No.
Right? This movie is the ultimate push the fish movie.
Yes.
Like, everyone in this movie was handed a giant pile of shit.
Yes.
And told, sell it.
Yeah.
So I don't blame anybody in this movie for being bad at acting.
Yeah.
You list off Academy Award winning actors and nominated actors and all this other stuff. And Hayden Christensen was outstanding in Life is a House and Shattered Glass all at the same time. And yet this turd burger of a screenplay, everyone's bad in it.
Yeah.
So I agree with you, because this is just a push the fish. And if you don't get the reference, look it up. It's like, oh, this is about to turn bad. Push it.
Yeah.
So everyone buys it. And the waiter's got to go out there and try and sell this seemingly bad fish.
It's just terrible.
It's terrible.
Yes.
So, like, Hayden Christensen's better than what I think history has remembered him, but they're all terrible in it.
Yes.
But that's not their fault.
No.
No actor could make that screenplay worth a damn.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
And that's what we talked about in the beginning, like, screenplay, if you will.
Right. This is written as loosely as it could be. I'm reminded of one of my all-time favorite South Park episodes where they have to go to the Family Guy writers. They're going to the Family Guy writers, right?
Yes.
And the Family Guy writers turn out to be manatees in a tank who pick random balls of topics and just put it into a tube. That would be more interesting than this. It's just terrible. There's no writing involved in this. And he gets all this credit. Oh, I'm going to go on a rant about George Lucas later, but he gets all this credit for about creating this like world, and yet this is what you have to show for it. It's terrible.
Well, that's where the originals are. Well, the funny thing is, when trying to watch the originals again, is the fourth episode doesn't hold up.
A New Hope.
A New Hope. If you have not watched it as a kid, to be introduced as an adult, it's excruciating to watch through. In the sense of, I watched it one time with my wife who had not grown up with it, and it was like, yikes, it is tough. Because Lucas wrote and directed it. And at the time, it was groundbreaking. So I respect what it did. But what it became, the saga and the like incredible movies thereafter, were he had co-writers and different directors.
Oh, yeah. Lawrence Kasdan.
Yes.
Is writer of Empire, which is arguably the best of all of them.
Exactly.
It had
So
nothing to do with
collaborative
this.
elements of what do you want to see happen? Great. How do we have that happen in a way that can be actually, deliverable by good actors, and then competent directors and technology and all these things, where the challenge is, it was just Lucas himself writing, directing, didn't have a collaborative element around it. And it just becomes this insular experience with his technological overkill and all these impulses that just, it's exhausting to watch.
He had Jonathan Hales. I don't know, collaborative. He had the Scorpion King story by a guy. I don't know what you're talking about. He had an ultimate collaborator.
You know what you're talking about.
What are you talking about?
Yes.
Yes. And what struck me as I watched this, it felt like James Patterson writing these books with all these co-authors, right?
And his name's on it.
His name's on it,
but no.
But probably Jonathan Hales wrote this.
Yes.
And George Lucas was like, I don't know. Here's the frame of it. Just write it. These idiots will see it.
Yes.
And it worked.
Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, I can go on about the screenplay, and I will, because it might be, at least in our time talking about movies, this is the worst screenplay that has been out there. I would rather watch Fast and the Furious.
Yep.
I'd rather have Denzel Washington sit down and read the Fast and the Furious screenplay to me in some dramatic fashion than ever have to listen to this ever again. It's terrible. I would rather watch episode 1 again than watch this movie. And I'm struck by that.
Yes.
Because I really hate episode 1. Oh man, do I hate it. But I would rather watch that movie because at least you get some, origin story stuff. You get some background, a little bit on characters.
Yes.
There is nothing in this movie that makes me care one bit. I already know Obi-Wan Kenobi survives, and he could have died in this movie, and I'd be like, all right. Okay, cool. Is it over yet? The screenplay is so bad, epically bad.
And that's why the ultimate challenge of these movies is, we've talked,
anything with a prequel is tough.
It removes any sense of peril.
Yep.
Or, oh my gosh, what might happen? So when, oh God, so terrible. When Anakin and Padme come to the whatever place where they're manufacturing something, and I couldn't give a shit what's happening.
They're not the clones, the drones.
The drones, yeah. And it's clearly a sequence where it's this is going to be a video game on Sega Genesis, so you can enjoy it. And there's no sense of peril because Padme has to survive.
Sega Genesis reference.
We played that back in college, but she's going to survive because she has to birth the twins.
Right.
And Anakin is going to become Darth Vader. So who cares? It's this exercise in just masturbatory bullshit.
Right.
Of, ooh, look at this tension. They're going to survive. Or they get in this pit and things are going to attack them. Obi-Wan, they all survive. What is this bullshit?
Ultimately, the most frustrating part is instead of putting them in peril, they could have actually made the ultimate decision of Vader going to the dark side, which Revenge of the Sith is better, obviously, as the best of the three prequels by a mile.
Yes.
But if I don't care about the love story, I don't care about their separation and their division, right?
Yes.
The two of them. There's no care of their love story whatsoever. It just doesn't matter.
Yep.
On that point, one of my points was what bothered me most. Also note, I did list the good first.
Right? We're very kind.
Right.
And generous.
But it was one.
All it takes is one.
I used to think the last 40 minutes was better than what it was. Although I do think that's the peak of this movie. Because at least there's some somewhat decent action and that kind of stuff.
Somewhat.
But on that point, though, of talking about caring about these people, what bothered me probably the most was you start off a really weak starting. Most Star Wars movies start off with some sort of little battle or something, and all they do is land and a ship blows up.
Yep.
Okay.
Decoy died.
Right.
Cool.
Right.
Some no-name people
Some
died.
slave probably died. That's fine. We're good with that. Thanks, George. But this movie is supposed to be the catalyst for Anakin to become Darth, right?
Yep.
Revenge is how it comes to fruition.
Yes.
But this is sort of be this is a launching point.
Yep.
But from the beginning, there's no connection. Anakin and Obi-Wan are supposed to have a connection. And there's this assumed connection between them.
Yep.
Because of the first movie. But Hayden Christensen wasn't Anakin in the first one. So there's no connection between these two. Yeah. And immediately he's like angsty, whatever, teenager.
Oh, totally.
Which I get from the character standpoint, but I needed more between those two because they're only together for the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Some of that, yeah.
And then at the end in the battle.
Yep.
They're never together otherwise. So how am I supposed to care that Anakin not only leaves Obi-Wan, he also leaves Padme, he also leaves these other things. So if they're going to have this terrible writing that I don't care about the love story and I don't care about the relationship between Obi-Wan, hell, man, I'd go to the dark side too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand any of it. It's so bad. There's no connection whatsoever.
And the connection is implying that they've been together for 10 years.
Right, but
in
no
some type
story
of
any kind.
Yes.
And at that time, none of the other TV shows existed or animated shows. So had it been like all these other things in the lore and the canon existed, I'd be like, oh, I can kind of relate to that.
Yep.
No, nothing existed at the time. It's
and what
BS.
Always irritated me about the prequels is that they had a glossier and like technologically advanced look all around compared to the originals. So it's just really irritating to watch these movies because apparently the Empire reduced everything to squalor and archaic technology. Whereas like, you didn't think about that when you're making a prequel? Like, hey, I get technology didn't exist in the 70s and early 80s. It would allow you to have the vision you wanted. But it looks jarring to see this pre-Empire world be all glossy and wonderful. And then after that, it's all dark and gray and sterile, where I can't stand the number of freaking giant rooms people are walking around talking in. That's just giant green screens of talking about democracy and politics. Like, what are you doing, man? This is supposed to be like a space opera and swashbuckling entertainment. And you're talking about, it's not a democracy, it's a dictatorship. Like, George, shut your mouth.
He's holding a mirror up to society. I don't know what you're talking about, Tim.
Yes, super effective.
This is a perfect
super
mirror
effective.
to society.
It just was so annoying, and like the creature effects were just awful. Like, video game cut sequences are better than this.
Yep.
It did not hold up. Like, technology, like the graphics are awful.
Oh yeah.
20 years on, and like it's freaking ILM, like the standard bearer, but
yeah. All right, so
so terrible.
I want to jump back to
Okay, so can I just say how dumb it is that I totally forgot. Anakin goes back to Tatooine and meets Luke's adoptive uncle when trying to find his mother, and visits him at home where Luke eventually will be raised. Which is even more dumb because the Jedi and Resistance decided, hey, let's take this kid of like the son of the worst villain ever and kick him back in the same place where Anakin's been with the same last name. Like, these prequels, not just because of lack of like sense of peril, but keep his name. It's the obvious place in the galaxy he's going to be raised. It's so stupid and lazy, and like a wink to the audience of like, you've seen this place before. Haha, moisture farming. Great. Is just lazy and dumb and just stupid. So maybe the Obi-Wan TV show addresses it, but if it's just so
maybe
awful.
Yeah, well,
it's not like it's like Luke Smith,
right,
or whatever, going like Skywalker.
Well,
in Tatooine,
okay,
same
so
place.
The only thing that they have going for them is that nobody knew it was twins. So they give Leia to Jimmy Smits. I can't remember the senator or whatever,
exactly.
But so everyone assumes that that's the one kid, and they didn't know about the second kid. So then they dump him off in the desert of Tatooine.
Sure,
and so,
but his name is Skywalker. It's like Leia's name is whatever the freaking like senator's name is. Like, they're like smart enough to be like, wink, wink. Probably should change it to like Johnson or something.
Yeah.
But Skywalker, like, seeing I was so irritated. Like, they went back to that. I liked the sequence where he goes to find his mom, and
if it were sooner and longer, it would have been more effective.
Yes.
Because I didn't care about her dying.
But he shows up. Hey, Mom, love you. You died.
Oh, I'm complete
Slaughter.
now. Done.
Yeah.
I'm just going to kill some Tusken Raiders. That's
Yes.
fine.
Like JT's like, let's go back to the negativity.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
I mean, about the same as you guys enjoy.
Yeah, right?
I mean, I enjoy sitting here laughing at it with you guys.
We did have a good time.
I think we're probably more offended by it than anything, but then we're more into the Star Wars universe probably than you are. Yeah, you need my wife here. Yeah, and come on.
It's the worst.
I was very frustrated, and I remember at the time being frustrated, and I still am 20 years later. Lucas, to a fault, dove into the digital side of this, right? Yeah. And you talk about walking into these grand halls and stuff.
Yes.
And they all are and look fake.
Like a screensaver fake.
Right. They're all in front of green screen. To the point where apparently, in my extensive research, Hayden Christensen's favorite scene was when they were in some cantina or whatever, because it was a real set.
A tactile experience.
It was an actual set.
Yes.
Everything else is just in front of a green screen.
Yes.
If the 90s and 2000s have taught us nothing, it's that green screen doesn't work. Like you need it. It does in pieces, like portions. Even the new Disney Plus series that are like on these huge green, like digital sets.
Yeah.
Even then, the things they interact with are real.
Yes.
And so when Anakin takes the space pear and cuts it and sends it back to her and she eats it, it's all fake and it looks fake.
Yes.
There's no physical interaction whatsoever and it looks terrible. So going back to you're talking about, like, it's all disjointed. There's no connection to any of this because even the actors don't have a connection to it. And then Yoda is actually not that bad, but when I think of it this is 2002, so Gollum existed,
right?
And you lose this argument.
Yes.
Like, Yoda has always been a puppet, a frail character and creature, and yet he's frail through all this until apparently when he is a spry young Yoda and can just dance all over this screen.
Yes.
It's just terrible.
Yes.
Like, I don't have any connection whatsoever to it.
And why have a Jedi Council sequence with other things with creature effects, like practical makeup?
Yeah, like the Men in Black looking thing with the three eyes.
Like Plo Koon and stuff. And then Yoda sitting over here, digital AF. And it's like, you can handle this because clearly you did it 20 years ago in the 70s to have Yoda as a puppet.
Right.
You can do that.
Yep.
I can see with a battle sequence, the fight, you want to have it more like
fluid. But why
fluid.
did Yoda have to fight him?
No, I don't get it. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Nobody knew before that moment that Dooku was his Padawan.
Yes.
Like, who cares? The two other guys who apparently Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, who are dominating this entire lexicon, can just be destroyed by Dooku in 10 seconds.
Yes.
So just to get Yoda in there. It's insulting, and I don't understand it.
And apparently all the Jedi are shitty teachers.
Mm-hmm.
That's the story of these movies, is the balance of the Force.
Yeah.
It ain't with you guys because you're terrible.
George must have had some bad teachers at Caltech.
I'm a Padawan of this one and this one. You're all terrible with teaching, and they lead the downfall of the freaking Jedi.
Can I ask you to, like...
please do. Yes, you can.
Did you understand... Like, I'm a Star Wars fan. I've watched everything Star Wars, including the Clone Wars shows and all this other stuff, right? Are they trying to say that this old Jedi who is supposedly dead is the Emperor? Like, who ordered these clones?
Yeah.
In the end, because if you can't hear the voice and realize it's the same person, it's insulting.
It's one of the worst reveals of all time.
Right.
But
who ordered these? So all of a sudden
Chancellor
they're willing to use these stormtroopers, but
is the Emperor.
Right.
What?
I know.
Yes. That's I can't stand this about again, you remove sense of peril or intrigue or it's more like informative. It's like an instructional manual. I open a box. How do I get from A to Z? Interesting. Boom, boom, boom. The parts come together, but there's no emotional, compelling story whatsoever. So yeah, freaking Palpatine. Yeah, he's the Emperor.
Right.
Spoiler. It's just like, it's so...
Again, I'm reminded of why
dumb.
the most recent Star Wars movie was so bad, because we keep going back to Palpatine.
Yes, when they had freaking Palpatine, which undermines the entire redemptive arc of Anakin.
Yep.
What are you doing? Okay, we have another podcast about that in 15 years.
And where are you right now?
God.
She'll love that. Absolutely.
Yes. The Rise of Skywalker? No! You cannot have the grandchild. Oh.
Yeah. It is frustrating. And
it undermines 6 movies.
Yes. And I do think when it came to the prequels, I remember, speaking of remembering back of, right?
Yep.
I remember being in your dorm room at Luther College and watching episode 1, the trailer. Right.
And the trailer was epic.
Right. It was something where we were all expecting this, our fathers had this.
Yes.
Or our parents' generation had this story of this thing.
It's a transformative movie-going experience.
And we watched it, and then we watched the movie, and it was disappointing, and then the second one was also disappointing, and I'm like, it was so bad. There's nothing about this movie that's redemptive.
No.
Like rewatching it again.
And the freaking stupid C-3PO gets his head knocked off and transported with a freaking droid, where it's like, are you...
It's like trying to pander to kids.
To the dumbest 5-year-old on the planet. Haha, that's funny. And I get this should be a enjoyable, swashbuckling aspect to this.
Well, that's what it's
enjoyment,
supposed to be.
But it's dumb. It's just stupid where they have these things and then the graphics don't hold up and the puns and the words of oh, she's up on top. Across the board. I mean, I could not wait for this to be done, to talk about it and have a good bitch fest, and drink more, because I'm this is the only redeeming aspect. It's so
ultimately
bad.
I will say it is. I think it's the only film we've watched together that I couldn't wait for it to be done.
Yes,
we maybe didn't like other movies, or Zoolander didn't hold up, or X-Men wasn't as good as we thought.
No.
But at no point was ever God, can this just be done?
Yeah, 2 hours and 10 minutes
minimum.
Kill me now, man. It just
yeah. Ultimately, I think what struck me was, you talk about New Hope. At least with New Hope, you could at least connect with the characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it might not hold up, or it might not be as what we thought it was, but you can at least connect with the characters of some kind and know that this is the movie that started it all, and you can kind of connect that way. Whereas all of these, especially the first 2 prequels, felt like just money grabs.
Oh,
and success. Good for them. They made a bunch of money. What's the point of this movie?
Yeah.
And I ask it in a sense of, there are 3 different trilogies in the Skywalker saga.
Yep.
And in 2 of those trilogies, I think the second movie is the best of those trilogies.
Yep.
In Empire.
Definitely.
And Last Jedi.
Yep.
Whereas, and so arguably then those 2 movies set up the finale, right?
Yep.
They're the point of the whole thing. Here it is. This is the linchpin of the story.
Yeah.
Whereas this movie, I'm like, what's the point of this movie?
Yeah.
I legit don't understand, because the reveal at the end isn't good.
No.
There's no peril of any kind, because everyone's gonna live. I guess Mace Windu is the only one who theoretically could have died, because he wasn't in the originals.
Sure.
I don't understand. It's all seems to be a setup to be getting the Death Star plans off of that planet and heading to Coruscant to then be what eventually is a much better film, which is Rogue One.
Yes.
I don't understand the point of this movie. There's no part of this that in Star Wars canon and lore, you're like, oh, without episode 2, we wouldn't have blankety blank.
Yeah. Episode 2, Dooku, all synonymous with steaming piles of shit.
Dooku.
That's just how it is. It's so across the board. And I actually want, I was really hoping that when it finished, it was like not as bad as I remember it being. Because I hadn't seen it in a long time. And it was so awful. It's just like offensively bad. Like, damn you, George Lucas. I'm glad you sold this franchise for $1 billion. Because
Four, actually, and we're going to get to this right now.
Get out of town.
Because I have a hot shot.
Ooh.
Yes. We haven't done it in a while. We don't have a part deux, but I have a hot shot. Okay. And so I'm just going to move on here. And so the only segment, because I'm one of us, taking back to an OG, as the kids say.
Yep.
And this is Hot Shots and Hot Shots part deux.
You're American. Yes. From America.
Yeah. When compared to the level of respect the name alone is given versus the actual product that is produced over time, I believe that George Lucas is the most overrated person in Hollywood history.
Ooh.
And there are many others I could list that are overrated based on love/respect that are given based on their work. Woody Allen, Roman Polanski, Nicolas Cage, Gwyneth Paltrow. What was that?
Zack
Snyder, Adam Sandler, Charlie Sheen. Like, I mean, there's a lot of people that have like this sort of like, oh, you've been in this or that or whatever. I actually did some research, so good for me. I didn't do any reviews, but here's his list of here is George Lucas's list of feature film directorial movies: THX, American Graffiti,
boring,
Star Wars, and then episodes 1 through 3.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
right. His feature films.
Yeah.
His non-Star Wars productions include Howard the Duck, Labyrinth, Willow, and the Indiana Jones franchise.
Yes.
Which is what he can hang his proverbial fedora on. Until you remember that he is largely to blame for the freaking alien subplot in the fourth film,
I don't know,
thereby ruining any claim to creativity he could have had on the first 3.
It's a fourth movie? I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. All because of who?
For me.
George Lucas.
Yes.
Right? So that's the problem.
Yes.
His writing credits outside of Star Wars are THX, American Graffiti, and a lot of story by credits.
Yeah.
Nothing of substance of any kind.
Yeah.
All of the story by or since then are Star Wars.
Yep.
His main addition to Hollywood has been and will forever be ILM, Industrial Light and Magic.
Totally.
Which, this movie aside, has been a game changer when it comes to visual effects. Like, for sure. I mean, obviously, Jurassic Park and various other films. That's about it. Like that. So then he even found a way to make becoming a multi-billionaire, to your point, overnight, make you seem like a bigger asshole by taking Disney's money, $4 billion, requiring being named as story by or produced by on all products or projects and making money off of that, then turning around and openly bitching about the direction of the franchise that it went, including the most recent sequels and side projects.
Yes.
He openly bitches about it.
Yes.
Meanwhile, he created these 3 steaming piles of shit
Yes.
that we have to watch.
Yes.
He is the most overrated. In the end, he is a one-trick pony that should have been shot decades ago. And it is, like, he is the most overrated person in history. Woody Allen is probably second on that list to me in comparison to, but he's made some great films.
Yes.
But he's made some awful films too.
Yeah.
And he's also, a terrible person. So I started looking at this, I was like, what on that film outside of Indiana Jones? And we have to give Steven Spielberg the credit for Indiana Jones.
Yes.
Because that's who directed it.
And Harrison Ford. And,
right.
Yes.
Had nothing to do with George Lucas. The only thing George Lucas did was crap on that franchise.
Yes. That always
done.
That
hot take.
I like that. Yes. It was Star Wars is the most formative movie of all time.
Correct.
In terms of it
rightfully
changed the game,
so.
And it exploded everything.
New Hope is the only one on that list that I have to be like, can't argue with it.
Yes. But I do remember when he was really being critical of, you sold the franchise, man. Shut your mouth.
And he didn't just sell it. He sold it for $4 billion.
You're set.
And he still gets to make money off of this.
Yes.
And he criticizes Disney for putting the Star Wars land in Disneyland
and stuff. Yeah. I remember that being like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, shut up, man. Take your money, go off and just relax.
Yeah. I can't stand it. He is the most overrated person in Hollywood history.
Oh, I like it. It's a good hot take.
Thank you.
Man, this is a good. Like, it felt good tonight.
Oh man, it's cathartic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hashtag this shit on Twitter as much as I
It's
can.
like a muscle release.
Oh my
like,
God.
oh man,
It's offensive. It's offensive. Like, a generation before us is like, Star Wars is the greatest thing ever. But then
Yes.
when you realize that the best film in that trilogy was written and directed by somebody else beside this person,
Yes.
it's not George Lucas.
You suck, George.
Oh God, go away.
Should we talk about beers?
Oh, we're gonna move on then to our next segment, which is Drinking Buddies, a sequel.
Let's get weird.
This is where we remind you of our beers and provide you with our Better Than Yours reviews. Tim will walk us through these once again, and then we will have our strange brews. So go ahead, Tim. What do we got?
We had 56 Brewing's Multitasker Tangerine Julius Smoothie Sour. I liked it. It was a 3.75 for me. I was hoping for more of like a vanilla type of like
with the smoothie side,
Julius, like orange Julius type of thing. It was good. It was a nice one to start with, but it was all right.
I have a 4 out of 5, largely because tangerine is a very tart flavor, especially in beers. So I think they did a good job of balancing it without being like too lactosey or like a smoothie sour. Also, 56 Brewing, it doesn't always put out the best stuff sometimes, so it's like, and maybe that boosts it a little bit, but I think it's good. I had a 4 out of 5. But I liked it. It was a good start.
Good. Did you like it, JT?
I liked it. It was like drinking orange juice.
Yeah.
Have that for breakfast.
Right. Without it being like too tart. Sometimes you get a tangerine or an orange or a tropical sour that's just like, oh, this is too much.
Yeah. Steel Toe was our next option. Their Sticker Fight Double IPA.
Yeah. That was a stretch of a theme beer, but good for you.
Fight, Attack, and a Double, Episode 2.
Sure.
Yeah, I was slightly ashamed, but I'm okay with it. It's a solid double IPA. It's a 4 for me. I like this. It's wouldn't say a staple, but I know what I'm getting into when I get this, and it's quite enjoyable. So I like it. It's good. Yeah, it's clean, crisp, like an old school type of double IPA.
I have 4.25. We're a little bit. I mean, I think this is a nice staple of a double IPA.
Yeah,
in town. Without it being overly like too much of a bite or too much of a malty flavor. Sometimes that happens. Yeah. I think it's super smooth. It's really good.
It's good. JT?
I liked it.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good.
It's good. Nice.
Thanks for chiming in.
Yeah.
All right.
You can take one home with you. Yeah. Then we had Badger Hills, Death Star. They're
That sounded more like Blue's Clues than Star Wars, just so we're clear.
I lost the thread.
Was that what you were going for?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, Blue Skidoo, we can too. Yeah.
It was a jazz riff. I was scatting on the Williams
Don't you
riff.
dare scat on John Williams. He does not need your help, good sir.
You dare scat
Don't
on
you
John Williams. Oh my God, that's epitaph. Their Death Star Disco Ball Triple IPA. Yep. It was good as a 4 for me. I liked it. If you had told me it was a triple,
that's what I'm
I'd
saying.
be like, really?
It is a smooth triple.
It is.
Yep. I have a 4 as well.
Yeah.
And it's got a good flavor to it.
It's tasty.
I mean, what was the ABV?
11%.
Yeah, I mean, it's a triple.
Sorry, 11.4.
Well, exactly.
Hey-o.
So some triples kind of come in at that 9 or like under 10 kind of ABV. It's a real triple IPA, and you would not know it by trying it. Like if you were to just try it, you'd be like, it's a double, but it's got a nice flavor to it.
Good. JT?
To me, it was probably my least favorite of the 4.
Sure.
Yeah, it was okay.
It's all right.
Yeah.
I like that.
Meh. Well, now probably to all of our favorites, I would assume.
Then we had Prize Brewing Lost Moon Russian Imperial Stout. This beer is flat out incredible. I was floored by this. It's a 4.75, close to a 5 for me in terms of that type of style.
Wow, all the way to Spotted Cow?
No. I didn't do that. Don't besmirch with that. when this comes out, I'm going to get it again because holy cow.
What was the name of it again? It was Prize, but what was the name?
Lost Moon.
Okay, thank you.
And they have a barrel-aged one that I was always interested in, but this like a flagship type of Imperial Stout Russian.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow. This is really good.
Yeah, I'm not always a big Prize fan. I like some of their beers. I definitely like the location. This was probably my favorite Prize of any of theirs. I have a 4.5, kind of on the same level, but I am curious about finding their barrel aged versions of it. But this to me proves that Prize can brew.
Yeah. Like forget Darkness from Surly. I will take this every year.
Yeah, because I don't feel guilty after drinking this as opposed to drinking anything from Surly. I'm like, oh god.
Yeah. This is good.
Did I just support Russia in some way? Like I feel like drinking Surly just makes me feel like I'm supporting Russia somehow. Yes,
Russia.
Thank you, JT, for bringing it. This is awesome.
It was good. What'd you think?
I assume
very good. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was flavorful and delicious.
It was tasty. It was good.
So then, on top of that, we have a strange brew.
As we've been talking,
about it, we've been having a
Take off, you loser. You take off, you numb.
Bronx
I'd
Brewery.
like us to keep. I'm going to keep finding some strange brews.
Yeah.
And this is one I brought back from New York. I don't know if I told you I was in New York recently.
Were you in New York recently?
Yeah. So this is an interesting. I had to buy it based on.
I got a gun. Let's go to a Broadway show.
Yeah. I bought this solely based on. I've never had a mint IPA, so I was like, okay, here we go.
Bronx Brewery, their Concrete Bloom.
Bronx Brewery out of Southern California.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That's so weird.
Out of North Carolina, of all places.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the raspberry IPA brewed with mint. This is really interesting.
It's strange, and it's a brew, but I don't get any raspberry.
Your face when you have, you're like, what the?
I kept smelling it. This is one of the rare times I just kept smelling a beer first. Of like
all of our reactions were like shaking it, like
right. It's not bad.
What happened?
There's nothing about this that is like poorly made.
No,
right? Like I'm just.
It's like a weird mojito type of like.
Tastes like I'm brushing my teeth.
I actually don't brush my teeth. So I don't know
that's a thing you should do.
Wait, hang on. Oh, dang. I should start. I'm almost 40.
Man.
Whatever, they're going to fall out. I can just put new ones in. Thanks, modern technology. No, I definitely get the mint. The mint is a flavor that if you have mint in something and you can't taste mint, you have failed horribly because it takes over everything else. I don't taste any raspberry.
A little bit.
Maybe on the backside. That's what she said. So like
But if I hadn't read it, I would just think it's an IPA with mint.
Right.
But if you said raspberry, I'm like, maybe it's there. But this is...
I have a hard time rating this, though.
It almost has a touch of like black licorice.
It does have a hint of like a...
And it's probably been 30 years since I've had black licorice. So I'm going to run with your taste buds on that one.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
But not bad weird. It's
again, I don't think you could say this is a bad beer.
Yeah. But
we've talked many times about this of like, I might not like it, but that doesn't make it bad.
No.
Right? Like, I feel like without the mint, this would be an amazing IPA. So I'd be very curious about like Bronx without the mint in there.
Yeah.
To be able to compare this to it of whatever IPA it was. I think it's a well-made beer. It's just a weird combination of flavors.
I'd give it a 4.
Yeah.
For the style
for what
it is.
it's
like,
doing.
I don't know that I've had something like this before.
Mint is not outside of a stout. Mint is not something you find
true
in a beer, and it certainly isn't something you find in an IPA. I'm so glad I bought this, actually.
Yeah. I'm glad you had it.
Yeah. I kind of agree. I probably would come in at a 3.75 or a 4 with the understanding of you're never going to finish a tall boy.
Tall boy, I'm glad we split.
Right.
Yeah.
Imagine buying a 4-pack of this.
Yeah.
Like, no, you prefer this? Perfect. Well, we come now to our final segment, which is Quiz Show.
The exciting quiz program, 21.
Where we search for trivia surrounding our subject film and try to stump the other. I assume you have more than us, but I assume you'll have one where John Williams is involved.
You assume incorrect.
Dang it!
No, because we had it for Harry
We've
Potter.
had him
last
many
year.
times. Yeah, that's fine.
Exactly.
So,
have we ever?
I have a couple. Yeah. I have a couple. We kind of limited to a couple. Do you have a few?
I have two.
Go ahead.
I believe this is the first film we've watched so far with Samuel L. Jackson in it. So far.
That seems correct to me.
Last month, Jackson was given an honorary Lifetime Achievement Academy Award.
Yep.
Despite starring in over 150 films since his first role 34 years ago, he has only been nominated once for an Academy Award. Can you name the 1994 movie for which he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor?
I can. It's Pulp Fiction. He should have won.
Oh, exactly.
Yep.
Jules. This is a tasty burger.
Yeah. It is surprising to think he's only been nominated once. Yeah.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
He's one of those like actors go, he's just super effortless. Just ridiculous.
In Star Wars movie history, any actor who got to have their own lightsaber was able to create or be involved in the creation of the saber itself, thereby personalizing it to the character and performer. This is true except for Hayden Christensen in this film. Not because he is a moron, though based on the performance and the screenplay, maybe, who knows, but for a very specific reason. Why was Hayden Christensen not allowed to personalize the saber of Anakin Skywalker? Your wife would know this. I guarantee it, JT.
Because it is the one that he has for, I have no idea. What the freak are you talking about?
Because it had to match, or very close to match, the saber that Obi-Wan Kenobi eventually gives to Luke Skywalker in A New Hope.
Oh, like personalize the handle.
Yeah, any of it. Personalize
like the Holt or whatever.
Right.
Gotcha.
So, because
Sure.
Obi-Wan gives it to Anakin,
Yes.
or to Luke in A New Hope, saying this was your father's
lightsaber.
So he couldn't make any changes off of that lightsaber.
It had to be...
Nerd alert.
Go blimey. Nerd alert!
Yeah, you push your glasses up. That was good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Removing sense of peril.
Right, so Samuel L. Jackson actually...
He's like, I want purple.
Mace Windu has purple, and it's the only one out there. And he famously was like, "Why do you want purple?" He's like, "Because it would look cool." And Lucas goes, "All right."
I mean, I can't disagree.
Yeah, it's badass.
Yeah,
it's like green, red, or blue. And Samuel L. is like, "Mother effer, I want purple." And they're like, "All right, that's cool."
Christopher Lee plays Count Dooku.
He's the bad guy, JT.
Yeah, he's the evil guy. But this is not the first Star Wars film he could have potentially starred in. Which of the 3 original Star Wars films was Christopher Lee originally offered a role in? Extra points if you can name the character.
Wow. Empire? Okay, well, see, then I can't even name the character at that point.
Yeah.
So, in my head, I kind of had somebody, but...
A New Hope as Grand Moff Tarkin. The guy he's like the second in command to Darth Vader. Yeah. He originally was cast as that and turned it down. So whatever the actor was that did it, they were friends.
Yeah.
Who got recreated in New Hope. Or not New Hope, but...
no, Rogue One.
Rogue One. But yeah. He originally was in episode 4.
Huh.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And that is all I got.
Episode 2 is the only Star Wars film to not finish the year as the #1 box office draw. In 2002, this movie was number 3 behind what 2 other films?
Well, Spider-Man.
Yep.
And probably 2 Towers.
Correct.
That's right. Boom!
So it was the only one, rightfully so, should have finished last, but yeah, here we go.
Yes.
Any final thoughts on episode 2, Attack of the Clones, Tim?
I don't know. It was like a soul.
Speaking of palate cleanser,
it was a soul crushing experience from a movie going standpoint. Like, I want to be engaged. I want to have some level of connection to something as a movie going like entity, and across the board, it was just like, it was forcing you to not enjoy it. And that is a problem to me.
Yeah, I think, and especially with a franchise of such high regard.
Yeah.
I used to tell people episode 1 was awful, don't watch it. And I even said it earlier before watching this. I would say don't watch this and watch episode 1.
Yep.
Like if I had to pick another movie, like one movie out of this entire franchise to not watch, it would be this one.
It's terrible.
It's so bad. Oh, man. Oh, I love it. It is very cathartic.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see you, JT. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I appreciate the beer.
Yeah, it was really good.
That will bring us then to the end of our episode. Stay tuned for our happy hour later this month where we will talk about We Were Soldiers. And next month, we will rewatch The Bourne Identity.
Ooh.
Yeah. Love me some Matt Damon.
Matt Damon!
We want to say thank you, JT, for coming out.
Dude,
appreciate it.
It's good to see you.
And thanks for everyone listening, for taking the time to listen, and for clicking that like or subscribe button on your devices. Find us on Twitter at years_beers and on Facebook, or head to 20years4beers.com. This has been 20 Years 4 Beers. My name is Steve.
I'm Tim.
And thanks for listening.
Thank you. Ooh, that sprayed a little bit. I think I squealed when I saw this tonight. I was so excited. Masturbatory bullshit. You suck, George.
Oh.